Donald Cowboy Cerrone versus Alex Morono. Morono stepping in for Diego Sanchez on short notice. Cowboy definitely has a very different matchup now with Morono, who actually I would say is a more difficult fight than Diego Sanchez for sure. I mean, he's still in his relative prime. Recently fought Anthony Pettis, went the distance, had good moments in that fight. Cerrone coming off of that disappointing draw against Nico Price that was overturned to a no contest, has had some losses, granted against Pettis. A lot of people felt he won that fight. It was a bit of a toss-up. But let's talk about this matchup with Alex Morono. First, let's talk about the lesser-known Alex Morono, but if you're following MMA consistently, you do know who he is. He's been in the UFC for a while now. He's a pretty solid striker with a modified Thai style stance. Mixes up his punches and kicks very well, and I would definitely consider him to be a pressure fighter. He really likes to throw the overhands when he's in range to do so, and he's actually pretty good on the ground too, has 6 wins by submission, 5 wins by knockout. He's well versed. His opponent here, Cowboy Cerrone, a Thai style striker, known as a pretty slow starter. In his last fight against Nico Price, he was attacked early and was hit with a lot of big strikes, and it's known that he's a slow starter. But with later age, he might be starting even slower, which is very dangerous against some of these welterweights. He does very good work in the Thai clinch. His knees are phenomenal to the body and the head. Definitely feel like the grappling could be a factor here. 17 wins by submission for Cowboy Cerrone, 10 wins by knockout. I will note this, Alex Morono never been submitted, does have 5 decision and 2 knockout losses. Cowboy Cerrone was only submitted 1 time many years ago, I believe by Benson Henderson. He's been knocked out 7 times, and he also has 7 decision losses. Interesting matchup here. Cerrone doesn't have the durability that he once had, but I still think he can take a shot. Alex Morono, not the heaviest handed, but does have good technical striking skills. Highly likely we see this fight going the distance. I think it's almost a guarantee that we go to decision unless somebody gets caught with something early. I don't necessarily think that happens. I think we have a competitive fight that probably goes 3 rounds. I think Cerrone should look to mix in some takedowns. It's not that Morono doesn't have good takedown defense, but I think Cerrone could land some trips. I think he's got to get inside the clinch, make it dirty, make it nasty, try to avoid being on the outside with the younger Alex Morono. As far as height and reach, Cerrone's 2 inches taller, but the reach only 1 inch advantage. From kickboxing range, I do think he'll rip at the legs, rip at the body when they get in close. I think he needs that Thai clinch when they're inside close, and I think he should work some takedowns here. Morono's not going to be an easy fight. As a betting man, do I want to throw the house on Cowboy Cerrone? Absolutely not. The dog, Morono, has some upside. The odds listed right now, I'm actually going to pull up best fight odds just to give us the most accurate odds possible. For Cowboy Cerrone, minus 130 to plus 110. The odds are not super widespread and they've come closer. Fight goes the distance is minus 175 already. Morono inside the distance plus 320. Cerrone inside the distance plus 345. I like Cerrone by a decision win, but Morono is an absolute live underdog. At plus 160, maybe Cerrone, but do I want to throw down against Cerrone looking as bad as he does? Personally prefer to fade the bet unless you're playing with the props and unless you want to bet the dog in Morono, who does have a legit chance to win. But I do feel there are aspects of Cowboy's game that he definitely can implement on Alex Morono. And you look, I mean, at the end of the day, let's look at his last 5. Lost to Tony Ferguson, champion level fighter. Gaethje, champion level fighter. Conor McGregor, champion level fighter. Anthony Pettis, former champion, beat Alex Morono in his last one, and a lot of people thought Cowboy could have won. And then Nico Price didn't have a draw. Granted, Price had some good moments. Price also knocked out Alex Morono years back. To me, Cowboy Cerrone, if he is not a shot fighter, if he's not getting progressively worse, if he looks at least at the level of his last fight, I think he etches out a decision over Alex Morono. I'm going to pick Cowboy Cerrone to win this one here. Not the most strong confidence because it depends on what Cowboy shows up and if Cowboy still has that fight left in him. He's older now. He's 38. He's been fighting for a very long time. 36, 15. Lots of fights. And then, that no contest with Nico Price in the last one. Tons of experience. 8 years older than his opponent Alex Morono here. it's a factor, and it definitely could be a problem. I think Cowboy wins. I do think he's got a couple left in him. I definitely think he was going to beat Diego Sanchez. This is definitely a harder matchup than Diego, but you know what? For Cowboy, it couldn't get any better than that. He takes whoever they put in front of him. He always shows up. For Cowboy's sake, I hope he wins. I mean, he's a fan favorite and has been so long. I think he has the tools to beat Alex Morono. I predict he will. Unanimous decision. Cowboy Cerrone should be an exciting fight. The co-main event for UFC Vegas 25. Make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Follow my social media, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and I will see you all in the next video.